Welcome, everyone. My name is James Yonker. I'm the Director of the Office of Strategic Diversity Planning and Research in DDEEA and the Principal Investigator for the 2021 Student Campus Climate Survey. In this presentation, I will share with you a brief history of student campus climate surveys at UW-Madison and highlight some key findings and themes from the 2021 survey. For those interested in the full results from the survey, including the technical report and disaggregations of questions by student characteristics, please visit our website for additional information. For a little bit of background, conducting regular campus climate surveys is part of our diversity framework and real change plan. The goal is to understand how students experience the campus climate at UW-Madison, including how students of different backgrounds and identities experience life here. At the core of this endeavor is understanding and measuring the extent to which students personally feel welcome, included, like they belong, safe, listened to, valued, and treated fairly and with respect. As many of you know, DDEEA fielded the first student-wide campus climate survey at UW-Madison in fall 2016. All students were invited to participate, and over 8,600 completed the survey for a 20.6% response rate. We fielded the second student-wide campus climate survey in fall 2021. Again, all enrolled students were invited to participate, but this time over 13,400 students completed the survey for a 28.2% response rate, a 37% participation increase over the last survey. Importantly, in both 2016 and 2021, the students that completed the survey were generally representative of the student body overall. So what did we see in the previous survey? Results from the 2016 survey were generally positive, with large majorities of students feeling welcome, respected, safe, and like they belong on campus. Students said that they often felt respected in group work and in class, and that they were often able to find others to study or socialize with. However, the survey also showed that that wasn't true for everyone. Students from historically underrepresented and marginalized groups responded less positively than their counterparts to many questions. For example, students with a disability, non-binary or transgender students, LGBTQ+ students, and students of color consistently reported a less positive experience of campus climate than their peers. 5 years later in 2021, we see mostly the same thing. Broadly speaking, the results of the 2021 survey were comparable to the results from the previous survey. While there were some differences, which I will mention later, there were relatively few overall changes in student responses between the survey waves. What this means is that while most students reported a positive campus climate experience, we continue to see a pattern where some groups of students consistently report a less positive experience. Students with a disability, non-binary, transgender, Buddhist, older undergraduates, LGBTQ+, students of color, and Pell Grant eligible undergraduate students responded less positively than their peers on many questions. Note that we added more student characteristics to our set of comparisons, so those listed in red were new to the 2021 survey. In the next few slides, I will give some examples of patterns we saw in the 2021 survey that mirrored those from 2016. So here is an example from one of the first sets of questions about general feelings on campus. We asked students, this semester on campus, overall, how often do you feel welcome, respected, safe, and like you belong? The response choices ranged from 1, never, to 5, extremely often. Here are the overall averages for 2016 and 2021. The error bars that you see indicate statistical significance and meaningful sizes. That is, when the bars overlap, there was not a meaningful change between survey waves, which is what we see for every item here. To help with interpretation, we also show to the right the percentage of students that respond very or extremely often, the two highest categories. As I mentioned, overall, Most students continue to report a generally positive campus climate. 3 out of 4 students reported very or extremely often feeling welcome, respected, and safe, and about 60% of students reported very or extremely often feeling like they belong. However, the second half of the main finding concerns pervasive differences in how some groups of students respond to the survey. Across the top, you can see the overall percent of students that responded very or extremely often to these items in 2021. Below that, you can see the corresponding percentages for the groups that I mentioned earlier. Dashes indicate the difference wasn't statistically significant from the overall. 2 things to note here. First, these 8 groups of students regularly reported a less positive experience of campus climate. Second, it's important to note that for feeling welcome, respected, and safe, half or more of the students in these groups responded very or extremely often. You may be wondering why we specifically highlight the experiences of these 8 student groups. The survey included 22 core items across 9 domains that measure students' personal experiences of campus climate. Across these core items, the following groups most frequently expressed a significantly less positive experience. Students with a disability and non-binary students responded less positively on 20 of the 20 core items, almost all of them. Transgender, Buddhist, older undergraduates, LGBTQ+, students of color, and Pell Grant eligible undergraduates responded less positively on half or more of the 22 core items. In no case did students from any of these 8 groups respond more positively than their counterparts. Differences for student groups not shown here were less frequent or insistent. In this section, I will give 2 examples of areas where we lost ground. We asked students how comfortable they would feel contacting UW-PD if they had a problem. In 2016, over half of students, 53%, said they would feel very or extremely comfortable contacting UW-PD. By 2021, that percentage shrank to 40%. On the other side of the spectrum, the percentage of students that reported feeling not at all or slightly comfortable increased from 19% in 2016 to 27% in 2021. Notably, there was not a significant change on this question for international students or students of color. What accounts for the overall change is a substantial shift downward among domestic white students. We included a follow-up question for students that said not at all or slightly comfortable, asking them why. In many cases, the comments were not specific to UW-PD, but skepticism and apprehension about police and law enforcement generally. Some students said they weren't sure how to contact UW-PD or when would be appropriate to do so, and others said they would exhaust all other possibilities, leaving contacting UW-PD as a last resort. Finally, a small percentage of students mentioned specific issues with the UW-PD, and others said they wanted to avoid perceived hassles contacting the police. We also asked students how often they spent time with people different from themselves outside of class. While students continued to often spend time with others different from themselves in terms of race or ethnicity, sexual orientation, religious or spiritual beliefs, nationality, and social class or socioeconomic status, we see that students spent significantly less time with others of different political views. Finally, I'll wrap up with a few areas that improved since 2016. Undergraduate students reported feeling their comments and questions were more respected by their teaching assistants in 2021. The percentage of students who reported feeling their comments or questions were extremely respected by their teaching assistants in class, the very highest category, increased from 24% in 2016 to 39% in 2021. This is an example of an area that was already high but nonetheless improved between survey waves. While more students said they felt expected to represent the point of view of their identity in class, how they felt about that expectation shifted. In 2016, 41% of students reported feeling negatively about being expected to represent the point of view of their identity in class, while 27% reported feeling positively. In 2021, those percentages flipped. 21% reported feeling negatively, and 45% reported feeling positively, causing the overall average to lean positive. For undergraduate students that had completed an ethnic studies course, we asked them how much that course encouraged them to value diversity, notice and manage bias, and be sensitive to others' perspectives. All three measures improved significantly. The percent of students saying very or extremely increased from 48 to 62% for valuing diversity, 45 to 61% for noticing and managing biases, and 50 to 66% for being sensitive to others' perspectives. So to recap, results were mostly stable between survey waves. While there were some changes, most students continued to report a generally positive campus climate experience. That said, we continue to see that some historically underrepresented and marginalized respond less positively. Again, for those of you interested in learning about the survey, please visit our website. Thank you.